Shana Tova. Welcome to our 2021-5782 abridged services for you from here, from Caulfield Shule. The Shule may be empty, your seats are still waiting for you here, but we hope that through these services we will fill your hearts. We will fill your hearts with what we've always done best at Caulfield Shule, through our beautiful tefillot, through our words, and enhance your Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur services.
Hashem גיבור, גיבור מלחמה. לדוד מזמור, לדוד מזמור, לדוד מזמור. לדוד מזמור, לדוד מזמור, לדוד זוכרנו לחי, מלך חפץ בחי, וכותבנו בספר החיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים Yom Kippur Yechoseim. They dabri boy, they dabri boy. Zocher eskeren boy. Veni akili Ephraimim, ילד שעשועים, כי מתך dabri boy, זכור אזכרנו, זכור אזכרנו. La 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 Ose shalom bimromav Ose shalom Aleinu, aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael
It's Ma'ariv time, the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of a new year. And we anticipate the new year with a sense of hope. And that is why the first song that Dov is going to lead us in is Tiku B'Chodesh Shofar, blow the shofar, blow the horn. Let it ring out with its sound of joy, anticipation, but also its sound of awakening, telling us that we are awakening to new possibilities, to a new year. Shechianu, which will be the last song that we'll be singing, and that will be, of course, on page 6 and 7 in these booklets. Shechianu, we've reached this moment. We've gotten through a hard year. We've gotten through a tough year. And our hope, anticipation, and our tefillot are for a better year, a new beginning.
Tiku b'chodesh shofar b'kesel leyom echagenu ki chok leYisrael hu mishpat leElohei Yaakov. LeDavid mizmor, LeDavid mizmor, LeDavid mizmor, LeDavid mizmor, LeDavid mizmor, LeDavid Eloheinu melech haolam.
שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה,
לזמן הזה,
לזמן הזה,
לזמן הזה,
לזמן הזה,
לזמן הזה,
לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה,
לזמן הזה,
לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה,
It's Shakharit time, the morning tefillah. We've selected two pieces that characterize Shakharit on Rosh Hashanah. The first is Hamelech, which comes relatively early in the service, but defines for us one of the essential themes of Rosh Hashanah, which is the fact that Hashem is our Melech, that God is our King. And the second piece that will be sung will be Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu, our Father, Malkeinu, our King. So once again, the service ends or concludes with that theme of kingship, but it does introduce as well the idea that Hashem is not only our King, but is also our Father. The comfort of knowing that Hashem is with us. Imo anochi b'tzara. Hashem is always with us.
Moroi me kadosh shemoy ara ra 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 mechosu ranenu tzadikim badoinoi laishorim novosehi
Avinu Malkeinu, Haneinu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Haneinu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu masim. Asei imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Asei imanu tzedaka v'chesed ve'oshienu. Asei imanu tzedaka v'chesed. Asei imanu tzedaka v'chesed ve'oshienu.
Mussaf, the final and the longest part of the tefillah on Rosh Hashanah. The Mussaf tefillah comprises 3 parts: Malchiot, Zichronot, Shofarot. Malchiot, psukim, verses that remind us of the kingship of Hashem that we were introduced to in Shakharit. Zichronot, remembrances, memories of the past, of our past as a people, of our great matriarchs and patriarchs, but also our own zichronot, our own remembrances, and shofarot, the sounds of the shofar, which not only characterize Rosh Hashanah, but have been there from the time when it was sounded at Har Sinai, maybe even earlier, from Abraham's discovery of the ram that we read about on Rosh Hashanah, the ram's horn, and shofarot, which will be sounded for the future as well, past, present, future. And these themes are reflected in the songs that have been selected, in the tefillot that we have selected, which you can find from page 8 through to page 12. Starting with Zochrenu L'chaim, remember us for a life. Unetane Tokef, the poignant remembrance of Rav Amnon. V'chol Maminim, we all believe. Hayom Harat Olam, today the world was created. Today is the anniversary of creation. Areshet Sefatenu, the words that come out of our mouths. And B'Sefer Chaim, once again, the gift of life. Past, present, future. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Right now, in our tefillot, let's focus on Hayom, what we can do with this day, with this gift of the present that is in our hands.
Zochreinu lechayim, melech chafetz b'chayim, melech chafetz b'chayim, v'chotveinu b'sefer achayim, lemancha Elohim chayim. Mi chamocha Hashanah Yikatevun
Uviyom Tom Kippur, Uviyom Tom Kippur, Uviyom Tom Kippur Yechatemun. Uviyom Tom Kippur, Uviyom Tom Kippur, Uviyom Tom Kippur Yechatemun.
Oy mi yichye umi yamut Oy mi vekitzo umi lo bekitzo berosh Hashanah Yikatevun
Uviyom Tom Kippur, Uviyom Tom Kippur, Uviyom Tom Kippur Yechatemun.
Yom Tov Kippur, Yom Tov Kippur, Yom Tov Kippur Yechatemun. V'chol ma'aminim shehu ein lemunah ha'bocheinu vodek in zei nistarot v'chol ma'aminim shehu bochen klayot hagoel mimavet ufodem mishachat v'chol ma'aminim shehu goel chazak hadan yechidi v'eyolam. One of the highlights of our Mussaf davening is the song, the Tila Emes, normally sung by Kobi, Shmil Duvid, and Chajbi from our wonderful choir, Kolot Min Hashamayim. I'd now like to welcome them up to the bima, to sing this beautiful rendition. Yato Yoitzro Yato Yato Yaideya Yitzro
Sefateinu yerav lefanecha eile rameni hisa Areshet sefateinu yerav lefanecha eile rameni hisa Meivinu mazil ma'abitu makshiv lekol tekiya teinu Meivinu mazil ma'abitu makshiv לכל תקיעה, תקיעתנו, תקבל ברחמים וברצון, סדר שופרותינו. בספר חיים ברכה בשלום ופרנסה טובה בספר חיים ברכה בשלום ופרנסה טובה ניזכר וניכתב לפניך ניזכר וניכתב לפניך אנחנו לכל עמך בית ישראל לחיים טובים ולשלום.
The final piece of music of Tefillah from tonight's service, which is the highlight of the Mussaf Tefillah, Ochil Alakel, which will then be followed by Rabbi Ganindi with his farewell drasha.
Ochil Alael, Achale Fanav, Oy 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 Shalom Mimenu, Mane Lashon.
שלום ממנו מענה לא שוי אשר בקלעו ושירו זו
אוי לידו Lashon.
Oy 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 oy
I've got 8 minutes in which to express to you my final Rosh Hashanah at Caulfield Shule. It reminds me of when George Bernard Shaw was invited to give a talk about English literature. How long do I have, he asked. You've got 8 minutes, came back the reply. How am I supposed to tell you everything that I know about English literature in 8 minutes, asked Shaw. To which the reply came back, speak very slowly. Keep perspective, or hold on to hope. You're not alone is one of the most potent and enduring messages that Judaism has gifted to the world. It's there at the beginning of creation, when Hashem says to the very first created human being, aloneness is not good for the human spirit, for the human condition. People need people. It's that which set us apart. It's what set Abraham on his path to the stars. It's what drives the destiny of Moshe. It's what kept us Jews going for centuries. We're fanatical about family. We're the true believers in community. And when it comes to community, if there is a Jewish gene, it's not the money gene, it's the compassion gene. It's what shaped the Egyptian slavery and was planted in our DNA, this need for empathy, the imperative to help and support others, particularly the vulnerable. No Jew, and indeed no human being, should ever feel alone. And never have these words been more significant than in these times of pandemic and of distress. In this protracted COVID season, when young children, teenagers, the single and the old in particular, but even the strong, are feeling the stress. When fatigue, including compassion fatigue, is everywhere, it's times like that we're called on to dig deep, to reach out beyond ourselves, to recognize the needs of, as that puts it in that old African proverb, that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. If a pandemic is a time to reset, it's surely a time to restore the balance, to replace extreme individualism with strong communitarianism. And there are so many ways to do community. You can do it in a shul, you could do it in one of the many Melbourne Jewish community groups, or you could start your own collective chabura. It's something that we Jews are especially good at, and that many young Jews across our community are particularly good at. The first message is, you don't have to be alone. The second is, you don't have to be perfect. Judaism is a particularly demanding kind of religion. So many rules, restrictions, but it's also a really deep understanding faith, one that recognizes the frailty of being human. Hashem wants us to do our best, but God does not expect us to be gods. God knows that we will fall and we will fail. And that's why the words of that grand, brave, 4-time Grand Slam champ, Naomi Osaka, after pulling out of the French Open, that's why her words are so important. She said, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to put your mental health first. It's all right to disappoint some because you're putting yourself and your family first. We know that the perfect is indeed the enemy of the good. We wouldn't need a Yom Kippur if we were all angels. We wouldn't need tshuva. We wouldn't need to forgive and to be forgiven if we were flawless. And that also translates into our Jewish practice. One of my messages consistently has been to you that when it comes to Jewish life, it's not about the all or the nothing, but it's about the something. You don't have to be faultless to be a good Jew, but you also can't be clueless. Learn a little bit more, do a little bit more, act more Jewish, do more Jewish. The world is a complex, it's an imperfect kind of place, and we are the creatures of it. So when we fall, we need to be gentle on ourselves and gentle on others. We need to recognize our wrongs, to try and change them, to pick ourselves up, and to start again. Seek help if you need it. Remember, you are not alone. Renewal is at the very heart of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It's a particularly potent message for pandemic times when so many are angry and so many are disenchanted. And that's why the third message, keep perspective, is so urgent. We Jews have been around for a long time. We have learned that nothing in the human heart lasts forever, that even vitriolic hatred can be outlived. We are the people of the long perspective. We too are a dream people. We haven't given up on our belief that the world can be a better place, and that's why our mantra has always been, this too shall pass. In one of the most audacious of acts ever recorded, the celebrated Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, living in the midst of a Yerushalayim, a Jerusalem in flames, escapes and he reestablishes a new center of Jewish learning and renewal in Yavne. We in Melbourne, we who have lived and witnessed the astonishing survivors of the Shoah, we know too well what perspective is about. This pandemic too shall pass. These three messages reach their climax in the fourth and the final one, which is hold on to hope. We are the quintessential believers in hope. Not for nothing is the song and the anthem of the New Israel, Hatikva, the hope. Yes, even in the middle of a pandemic, we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our people, and we owe it to the world. Remember, I don't know if you can see this Chinese symbol for crisis has got two parts to it, danger and opportunity. At a time like this, it's easy to surrender to fear, to seek the consolations of certainty, to simple explanations, conspiracy theories, and denials of fact and reality. But at times like this, we can actually make changes to address the deep fissures that COVID has exposed, to create more equitable and a more accepting kind of society. More accepting for our First Peoples, for those trapped in poverty, to reset our climate decisions, to rejig our attitude towards migrants and to those languishing in the limbo of non-citizenship in Australia and on God-forsaken islands. What an opportunity to restore Judaism's hope for a world tempered by justice and driven by compassion. So let's pause now. Count to 8. And say slowly, you are not alone. You don't have to be perfect. Keep your perspective. Hold on to hope.